On this episode, let's get the arc started and get these frame rails welded together, or at least laid out. Not sure where we'll get on them, but let's get the arc started. This is Mild to Wild Builds. I'm Jeff Duncan. So like I said, this is a Vulcan Pro TIG. I think they have a one lower grade of series of welders that's a little bit cheaper. I think I gave like 11 or 1200 bucks for this one. It's got the processor board, so it's not capacitor. It doesn't take as much power. Like right now we're welding on 110. It's got the digital setup. You can change your parameters on your pre-flow, which is how much gas you have before the arc actually starts. Your post-flow, which is how much flows afterwards. You have a pulse, which I've always welded with just a solid stream. This one has a pedal right there, and that's how you can, if you want to pull voltage back or whatever. I've never really practiced with pulse, so I can't say how that works either way. Like I said, this will do an AC DC, not the band, but so if you're going to do aluminum, you put it on AC, and unless the aluminum's thin, I took it to work, and the guys used it at work, and it did rather well. We welded with 220. So, and I would suggest that just because it takes a lot more amperage. So, like I said, we're welding on a 110 standard outlet. You run on 100% argon. So, you can get this from your local welding store. They'll take care of you. You don't necessarily need a big bottle. They have them in 3 different sizes. Then you have your flow. This is how much is in my bottle, so depending on how much welding we could do, it probably won't last all weekend, but this is how much flow comes out of the cup whenever you step on the pedal. So let's get this thing rigged up. So you got your ground, just hook it to your object. We got our welder set on 100. He said, probably getting tired of me here saying it, but we don't have a lot of our stuff from the shop here, so that's the way that I want it until we decide to move or whatever. Everything comes here. We're gonna do this is just like you would at your home. You can get you a nice a nice helmet from Harbor Freight. These are auto darkening. Makes things a lot easier. Being as I was doing so much welding at certain times, the bird poop on it. I have a Miller Digital Infinity. They got a really wide screen, fairly comfortable headgear, and then you got all your adjustments and things in here. You can start out simple. I mean, now they've got them to where you can get a nice headgear for, $100 or whatever. I think when I bought this one, it's been several years ago. I have 3 or 4, I think I have $350 in it. But, basically you do, or you can get the old flip down hood. That's the same. Guys use those all the time at work, and I've got one I've been in the trades for 20 plus years, so this is where we're at. So anyways, make sure you wear as much on the welding stuff. Definitely wear your PPE, because heaven forbid you get burned up. I'm using a Fupa cup. It's a 12. Basically, that's your. It's got a nice little gas lens right there. Keeps all the. Gets the gas for a good surrounding. Gives you a good product or good coverage on your weld. So I'm not sure how well this is going to work on the camera. We'll go ahead and strike an arc, and then we'll see what it looks like. So you just you get comfortable. That's the main thing when you're doing your welding. And we step on the pedal. It starts the arc. I don't know. You guys probably can't see this. Creates a nice little puddle, and then you just run your filler wire right in front of your arc. And then when you step off the pedal, make sure you hold your gas on there because that shields and that gives you a really nice color on that. Appeared as though my hand was in the way the whole time, so you can't see anything anyways. But that's what my tack looks like. And that's not the best. Doesn't look horrible. And I'm TIG welding probably 99% of this truck as far as the back half. Cage is obviously, it's going to be chromoly, so we're going to need that. But when it comes time to sell the thing, I want it to be the best quality we can give. Let's get you right in here and see if you can see anything, or if it just blows my camera up. Oh my god, what the heck? We're all about tearing stuff up, right? See how the arc comes in. You can control the amperage with the pedal, just like you do a gas pedal in your car. You get a little bit of a puddle there. You just kind of walk it from top to bottom. Now the bolts, with both sides being welded on the first piece, and you having your bolts in here, they're going to hold everything together. They're going to keep this from pulling and warping and stuff. So, and then by the time you get inside, you know, flip this stuff out of your way, weld up as far into the center as you can with everything before you unbolt it. And that's probably the best advice that I can give on that. And the rest of it is just rinse and repeat on the other side, and we'll show you what the final product looks like if this weld doesn't go through. AFCO's been with us for a couple years in the Mild to Wild custom fab. Eric reached out to us a couple years ago, and when Casey posted a video that's the intro to Mild to Wild builds, and so we became a dealer for AFCO. I reached out to him earlier this week and said, hey, we're doing a YouTube channel. Would you be willing to send a banner or something to that we could post and have it in our videos? And he graciously enough did that. So we'd just like to thank AFCO for being a part of everything for quite a while. If you need any AFCO products, the list is long for what they give and what they provide. Just let us know. Maybe we can help you out. Thanks. All right, so we got that welded on there. As you can see, so it's about as far in there as I can get it with the TIG rig. I might either, like I said, we'll look at finishing that out with the wire feed, or possibly maybe get a boiler cup. Which a boiler cup has a really long skinny tip on it that we can get in there. Well, it doesn't look horrible. Paint will fix a lot. And then, like I said, we'll still figure out, we'll make a filler piece in there as we go. That'll be an easy fix in the truck. So what we're going to do now is turn the TV down. So we're going to go, well, I had this all bolted up and sliding through here. This on the end of here tight. So the end of this bolt from this face to here is 1 inch. So I think we're going to move our frame rail over 1.25 inches. So the inside of our frame rail will be 1.25 inches off of this bracket. It's not going to be horrible. I mean, 1.25 inches, you can hold this, get your finger in there, slide it in place with the washer, start your bolt. I mean, it is what it, that's the room we're given, and a ladder bar is set up just like this. So, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna grab a marker. We got a marker here, grab me a straight edge. So we're gonna measure off of this bracket 1.25 inches. So that puts us right here. That's 1.25 inches. Now what you're gonna wanna do is so from this bracket to the end is 9 1/8. And from this ladder bar bracket, 9 1/16. So this needs to be shaved off, which the line shows that, if you can see it. So I got a little bit of a line here. So what I want to do is, in order to make this straight, because you're catching the radius here, so in order to put this next piece of box tubing in the right place, we'll need to measure here over to our end of our tube, you know, as long as you're cut straight, which, and remember, this is cut already to the width that we need to slide into our frame rails. So we're going to measure from here, from our mark, to the edge of our frame rail, which is 7 7/8. So then we're going to come down here and mark that 7 7/8 again. So we have that. So we're going to take a straight edge between these two marks, lay them out squared up. Now when you look at it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so crooked. But you have to remember, you're also looking at this frame rail on the turn. So you'll have a straight piece here, and we're probably gonna have, like when we set our frame rail in here, I'll go grab a piece of box tubing and kind of get an idea. But it'll sit in here straight, so our top side will have a little bit of a, because we'll get it when you're 2 inches over, you're into the flat. So you see, if we go, say 2 inches here and 2 inches here, you can almost take your speed square and you lay that right against there, and it's just, so you're like inside outside of the line. Whereas if you did it here, you could keep it straight, but you gap off of it there. So see, that's our straight line. So if we come back here 2 inches, just 2 inches there, draw us a line, that's where our tube's gonna sit, our frame rail, I should say. So that's gonna fit right there. So we have 2 inches, 2 inches on each one. So that's the width of our frame rail. Let me go grab a piece of box tubing real quick, and I will show you what that looks like. This is a drop off of the frame rail itself, so it's the exact what we're gonna have to work with. So as we set this on here, you'll see we'll line up top and bottom on the widest part, and you'll have a little bit of a gap at the top, easy to feel, and then the bottom, as we come around here, so it'll be a nice smooth gap. Frame rails look nice and straight, and it'll come out, and you'll have room. When we slide our bolt through here, this is what we're gonna have. That's what you're gonna see from your frame rail, because of the way a ladder bar frame rail works, set. And I'm big on, I mean, there's guys out there that build their own frame rails and they look good. I mean, they're good for what they are. I personally, for no more than the money that it is, I think they're $140 a piece to get mandrel bent frame rails. One, they're stronger than anything that's welded together, and it also gives you a cleaner contour, especially for a truck. In a car, we could show you the Camaro at one point in time that it's got home built frame rails in it, and some of the issues that you kind of run into whenever you do that, we can kind of show you here once we get this all tacked up. So but yeah, see, so this is for the money. I think it's worth the money to buy a nice 2x3 drop cross member with your ladder bar brackets on it, if you come up with a rear end that's already set. You know, I mean, if you're building a new one, you know, I would still do the same thing. I'd buy the whole kit or what have you. But I personally like the 2x3 mandrel bent frame rails to install. It just gives it a much cleaner look, and it's actually a little easier on you. Again, you know, I mean, if you sit back and think about the hours that you buy the 2x3 box tubing, and then the time and hours that you have in putting it together, your frame rails, and making them both the same, you know, all that time you could have had your vehicle sitting on the ground already, you know, for what time it took you to make the frame rails. So just kind of look at that. You know, like I said, it's everybody's personal preference, obviously, but them are some of the things that's the reasons why I like to use the frame rails. Plus it gives you, you know, a nice look. When it comes time for tin work, it's a little easier the way that I like to do things, and everybody has their own ideas and their own ways of doing things. And there'll be a lot of guys out there that, you know, hey, I'd have done it this way and I'd have done it that way or whatever, and that's perfectly fine. Everybody has their own way of doing things, and their own plan, and that's what you got to go with. This is just how I've done it, how I've always done it, and they've always seemed to work for me. So just again, it's personal preference on a lot of things, and on some other things it's just the way that I like to do it. And like I said, everybody's gonna have an opinion or an idea, or hey, you done this wrong, or hey, you done that wrong. You know, luckily I've put a lot of stuff together that's always gone straight. So my car was built, the Camaro was built on a garage floor just like this, and it's been 300 foot on the back bumper. So nice and straight, landed in the middle of the track. You know, that's the video you see as our intro. So this is what works for us, and that's kind of what we're gonna go with and show you guys how to do it. Like I said, there's hundreds of ways to do it. This is just our way. Let me grab the grinder and polish these up where we're gonna make our welds, and we'll get these frame rails ready to go together. And again, all our tools, everything we have here is Harbor Freight. My initial idea is this is my home garage at the new house, and so it's separated. So my plan, this is going to be the clean side with, you know, the decorations, the decor, where we'll do engine assemblies, final assembly type stuff, and eventually we'll get it all put together the way that we'd like it. And then this over here will be finished one day, and this is going to be our fab side. So when we decide to sell the other place, the shop, I think we're going to put in a smaller door and make this to where we can only get one, maybe two vehicles in at a time. If we put one on one side and then say we have one turned around to go sideways up front, and that'll give us plenty of room to have all of our equipment, our tools, the benders, all that stuff set up. But that's the plan for the future. Right now this is what we're working in, and it's a lot of fun. So let's get back to this. we'll get these frame rails welded up so we can hack off that back half. Get this ground up here and we'll go from there. Let's get this cleaned up. Grab my face shield. Get this buff off of here and we'll go. But anyways, back to the whole garage separation thing. I had a little garage down when we lived in Booty and down the road from the shop, and I'd set it up kind of similar to what I have here, but that gives us, it'd be like two separations. I have a toolbox here, the toolbox on the other side. The idea was to have Hercules tools on one garage. Bauer tools were gonna go in the trailer, and that keeps everything separate. That way it keeps you from mixing stuff up, was my original plan. But met an amazing woman who changed my plans just a little bit. So she's super supportive. I don't know what I'd do without her. So yeah. Life always sends you curves, and all you can do is just drive through them. So we have here 7 7/8 there, and you come down here and we'll do 7 7/8 again. And that'll tell you where the inside of our frame rail is going to be. We can send that like that. And then come over here, and our frame rails are exactly 2 inches. It's not like wood. Never had any luck being a woodworker. Come out here 1.25 inches. And yeah, we already did this side, but you know, grinder life. And we have 7 7/8 on this side. Come down here. This is everything laid out to 1.25 inches off that bracket. Make sure we have plenty of room. So there, that's the inside of our frame rail right there. So that's where our frame rails are going to line up here and here. So we're going to stand this up on end. Take our speed square. We're going to come up here on the top, mark up our line here. So there's that. Come over here, do the same thing. So there, we got that laid out there. So what that is going to be, we measure inside of here. So this overall measurement is 24.5, which is what it should be, right? Because we had 22 as the outside of our frame rails. We added 1.25 inches on each side. So we have 24.5 is our inside to inside. Yep, 24.5 is what we have on the inside of our frame. So what we're going to go do is we're going to, as we have the rear end set up here, this is basically kind of where everything laid out. So we're going to what we're going to do is we're going to take, this is where our front cross member is going to go, so we don't really need to do anything there. But we're going to come up here and in about somewhere in this range here where it'd be just above the ladder bar brackets, we're going to cut a piece 24.5 inches long, piece of moly tubing, because that's all I got. You can use angle iron, you can use whatever, and you can weld it across the top of the frame rails. You can use pieces of wood with C-bars, you know, woodworking bars that'll pull it together, just as long as everything's the same. We'll make one for here. We'll come back here and figure out basically where our shot cross member is going to be, and we'll go ahead and make one that's legit for there that we'll tack in. We'll tack that one in, and then back here we'll do the same. We'll have one that's, you know, the same width. That'll give us something to start the squaring process of getting our frame rails done. And we'll set, this one will be more than likely permanent, and this one back here has the potential to be permanent. This one up here is obviously just temporary, so we just want to get it in place to help hold our frame rails to get everything square. So I'm going to go to the other side of the shop and cut these. You can cut it with a grinder, bandsaw, chop saw. I'm going to use, probably going to use the wet saw that I have, just because I want a nice square cut. And again, it's the tools that we have make things easier. It doesn't make it better. So I'm going to cut these, and then we'll come back and we'll start the squaring process of these frame rails. So we got all that done this week. Got everything laid out, squared out pretty good. Next week we'll get them frame rails knocked off there for the old truck. I know I keep saying it, but man, time gets away from you, and it takes, everything does take longer. And then you got life. You still got to take care of mama and the kids. So next week I promise we'll get the frame rails in it, get everything squared up there, and see what she's going to start to look like. Can't thank you all enough for watching. This is Mod the Wild Builds. Like they always say, like, share, and subscribe. Bye.